Hi, I'm Kim and you're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. As part of my healing process, I have been trying to educate myself as much as I can to protect myself from ever being victimized by a narcissist again. And as part of my educational process, I have been taking an online course. Now, this is a 6-week online course. We are now 2.5 weeks into it. And it's been extremely exciting, and there is a live instructor, so you get to really interact, and I'm really finding it exciting. It is a course in lie detection and body language analysis. The reason I thought this line of education was going to be important to me, to serve me well in the long term, was liars are everywhere. Now, I was taken hostage, I was victimized by a narcissist because I fell for the deception. I was tricked, and I'd like to avoid that in the future. I certainly want all of you to avoid that in the future as well. So today I want to discuss lies, how to spot them, and how to read body language. I think we'd all admit that we've told a white lie. White lies are very common, and they are a lie resulting from a person's need to protect themselves. For example, you get up in the morning, you're getting ready for work, you receive some bad news, and you're feeling badly. Now you arrive at work and a coworker says, "Hey, how you doing?" And you reply, "I'm fine," or "I'm great, thanks for asking," and you quickly move to your desk. Now, that was a white lie. You're not fine, you're not feeling great. In fact, you could be feeling very bad, even depressed. But you didn't want to discuss that. Okay, so let's think about this for a moment. Now, you replied, you scooted off, ended the conversation. Now, what if you'd been honest about that? For example, you were in a protective state, you didn't feel that you were in a position to be discussing this private matter, you felt a sense of protection, you needed to protect yourself because possibly you've not really come to terms with this bad news yet. Maybe you haven't processed it. Maybe you're still trying to internalize it. Maybe you're still feeling a bit confused or disorientated by it and don't think you'd be the best person to discuss it because you really don't have a handle on it yet. Now, had you been honest about that, what would you have said? You could have said, "You know what, I'm feeling really bad. I actually got some bad news today and I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet. Besides, I don't think it's any of your business. Therefore, I'm not going to discuss it with you." Holy smokes. I mean, are you really going to say that to somebody? I mean, you've just crossed over now from protecting yourself to what could feel very rude, and most of us would prefer to avoid that. That's why we go to that protective white lie. Yeah, I'm fine, end of the story. But that's not what's happening with a narcissist, or any of the cluster Bs for that matter. They are lying for a very different reason. Certainly they're trying to deceive us, but I don't believe that's at the core of what they're trying to do. I do believe it's envy. They want what you have, and not just want it for themselves, but they want to take it from you. So they're going to use deception to do it. And this is a very, very interesting topic because when you're looking at pathological, habitual liars, this is a whole different mindset. They are coming from a whole different place. Now, there are 3 types of lies that are commonly told by a habitual liar, and I want to discuss those. Omission, misdirection, and perception. 3 different types of lies, but all with the same motive behind them. Now, when someone is trying to deceive you, you have to understand, first and foremost, there is an end game. They are trying to accomplish something. What they're trying to accomplish is a form of control over you. It is a form of mind control. When they're lying to you and you believe it. Now, you could be very subconsciously believing it, but we always have the choice not to believe someone, to question them. Unfortunately for empaths, it's going to be very much in your nature to want to believe someone, to believe them very, very willingly. So you haven't been forced to do this exactly. You just chose to take the softer, more considerate route and believe them, take them at face value. Well, we've all learned a valuable lesson from that. And I know many of us, me included, are much more critical in my thinking when someone says something to me. Now, when we consider a lie of omission, for example, you could say, hey, Kim, you just mentioned, a little white lie. That was, in fact, a lie of omission. You didn't want to engage in the conversation, so you just omitted the truth and said you were fine. Now, that's very different from a narcissist lie of omission, because a narcissist will leave out really, really big things. They will leave out huge aspects of their past, possibly a criminal past, possibly crimes of violence or great deception or excessive drug or alcohol use, things you should know about, because these things will certainly help define a person, and you have the right to know. They will lie about their finances or bankruptcies. They will lie about their past relationships, big issues, things that had you known about them, had they not omitted them, you would have probably seen a much bigger red flag, and you would have thought twice about getting involved with them. For example, had Trevor told me that every single one of his past relationships ended in a dumpster fire, had he told me that he was addicted to pornography, gambling, and alcohol, I would have really thought twice about getting involved with him. Had he told me his finances had been in ruins his entire life and his mom actually supported him. These are all really big lies. Had I known these things, I most certainly would have proceeded with caution, and these things would have helped me form a decision when it came to getting involved with him. When it comes to omission, these things cannot always be called a lie, for example, because the word lie is a pretty negative word. Now, there are reasons why a person would legitimately omit something. Something about yourself that you believe is private, and you feel a protective boundary across that. Maybe in the case of a parent, you have a child that's struggling, in a certain area of life, and someone says, hey, how are your kids doing? And you reply, well, great. Maybe a friend has confided in you. Maybe a friend has told you something personal and asked you not to share that with anyone else. And someone asks you about that. And you don't want to talk about it. Why? Because you're not willing to breach the confidence that you have with your friend. You are not willing to talk behind your friend's back. And it's maybe none of your damn business. And you just don't want to discuss it. Now, all of those are protective lies. All of those are lies that you're telling to protect your own private life, to set a boundary, protect your family, or protect a friend. And everyone is well within their right to use a protective measure like that because, of course, you're not hurting anyone. You are not trying to create an illusion or a deception. You are honoring yourself, your family, and your friend. And the opposite of doing that, like to say to someone, hey, guess what? I know what's going on with my friend, but it's none of your bloody business, and I don't know why you're asking about it, or my friend has asked me not to say anything. I mean, do we really need to enter into these types of dialogues? Because in many cases, they will seem abrasive or they will seem rude, and it's not your intention to be rude or abrasive. You're just trying to set a boundary in place, and you're trying to be a good person to yourself, to your friend, or your family. There's a very big difference between omitting information to protect your own privacy, your family's privacy, or the privacy of someone who has confided in you. That's not what a narcissist is doing. Narcissists are omitting big issues to alter your perception of them. Now, when someone doesn't tell you that they have an extensive criminal history, that's a pretty big omission. When someone doesn't tell you that they have a very long lifetime struggle with drug use, this is a really big omission. Trevor's alcoholism, he kind of dismissed it and sort of made a joke about it, like it really wasn't an issue when it was very much an issue. When someone doesn't tell you that they have financial problems, or they've struggled to provide for themselves, or they've had 5,000 different jobs and they can't hold a job. I mean, these are big things that will eventually alter the course of your life if you are closely involved with this person. And these are things we need to know. So omission of the truth, though it can be something very small, that's not what we're seeing with chronic, habitual, or pathological liars. Now, I think we'd all agree that long-term gaslighting has a profound impact on a victim. Can cause complex post-traumatic stress disorder, trauma bonds, soul ties. All kinds of things can happen to a person as a result of gaslighting. This is an extreme form of lying, but until you're in someone's clutches, they don't have the ability to gaslight you. So how you end up in a position to now be a victim of gaslighting is these early deceptions. From the second a lie is told, bang, your reality is altered. You are immediately under a minor form of mind control. That one works, the next lie more solidifies it, the next lie or omission of the truth continues to solidify it more and more and more until you are captured, you are trapped, you are in their snare, and now you are going to become the victim of gaslighting, which will further compound all of this. Now, this is the first of a video series. I'm going to skip off to the next video. Please share your thoughts with this. If you can remember those initial lies, please share them with us here because they're great warning signs for all of us. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you're having a great narc-free day.